Hey, how's it going, brothers and sisters? So, for today, I want to share with you a prophetic dream that I received in the early morning hours of today. I'm talking about maybe 2, 3 in the morning. And this occurred on the 8th of November, 2022, while I was asleep, of course. It's the only way you receive a prophetic dream. So, before we go into the dream, I just want to say that I am not planning on giving any interpretation to what this dream means. I just want to speak forth the dream as it is. I think that it may be just pretty plain to what it means. But then again, as it was with Joseph, the dream can mean one thing to one person, but in reality, it had a completely different meaning altogether. So I will not go ahead and give an interpretation to the dream. Instead, I just want to share the dream as it is and leave it at that. If you guys do have an opinion to what the dream can mean, feel free to share it. But from what I got from it, it seems to be pretty plain as day. So once again, it was a dream that I received on the 8th of November in the early morning hours. So here's the setting. So in this dream, I was at my house, and it's during the daytime. Like there was sunlight that was coming into the house. This is how I knew it was the daytime, and the house was full of light. And the TV was on. And so while I was in my house, I directed my attention towards the TV, which was to the left of me. And the moment that I did, like my entire field of vision was filled with the TV. And so what I noticed about the TV is that I was watching what seemed to be a live broadcast of Brother Dan from God's Healer 7. So in the dream, when I saw Brother Dan, it was a close-up facial shot, right? It was like pretty much towards his chest level up. But you can see the background and what was behind it. So looking at Brother Dan, he was wearing his glasses, and he had a smile on his face. And over his head, he wore a prayer shawl. And so the color, the description of the prayer shawl is that it was predominantly black all over. And then it had like streaks of white stripes all over the prayer shawl. And so when you look to the back of Brother Dan, what I noticed about the broadcast is that the broadcast was taking place in Jerusalem on the Temple Mount, where there is the Wailing Wall like we have seen all over the internet. So in the scene, it was nighttime, and there's very, very few clouds in the sky. And it was a full moon. This is what I saw on the Temple Mount. And then there was this gentle breeze that was passing through, and the prayer shawl on Brother Dan was swaying with the wind. And so then what I noticed happen next is that after a little bit, Brother Dan makes a proclamation. Like over the TV, he makes this proclamation, and essentially what he was saying in his proclamation is that the two witnesses are here, and that they are the two witnesses. And so once he said this, the TV switched to a different angle. Now, it was still in Jerusalem. Just think of it as multiple cameras. So you had one camera that was like pretty much at the chest up level of Brother Dan. And then there was like a different camera angle that came into view. And when this happened, what I saw was it was a zoomed out scene of the Temple Mount of Jerusalem, of the temple grounds, where you get a larger view of the Temple Mount, right? And so in this larger view, I saw Brother Dan, a full body picture of Brother Dan, or a full body video recording, or just like think of it as a news broadcast. Like it was a full body stature of Brother Dan, and right next to Brother Dan, to his right, if you're looking at it from the standpoint of a spectator to the TV, it was Sister Barbara. And the thing about the both of them is that both Brother Dan and Sister Barbara, they were wearing the same type of prayer shawl draped over their head. And that same wind that was blowing through Jerusalem, that was blowing through the Temple Mount, was causing the prayer shawl to sway. And the prayer shawl was pretty long, like towards their knee level. And so once again, I'm looking at Brother Dan and Sister Barbara. And the color of the garments that they wore was a dark color. I don't know if it's like a dark blue or a very dark purple or even a black color, but think of it as nighttime at the Temple Mount. There's a full moon, and then here is the two figures, Brother Dan and Sister Barbara, being seen on TV after Brother Dan made the proclamation that the two witnesses are here and that they are the two witnesses. And so immediately after this shot, the TV switched angles again, and right back up to a close-up shot of Brother Dan for the chest level up. And it remained on the screen, and what you see is Brother Dan having a very joyful smile on his face. And so then after this, the scene of the dream changed. And I was redirected back in the beginning of the dream when I was in my house, no longer watching the TV. And so after that proclamation was made, this is what I remember I did, is that in my spirit, I acknowledged and accepted that they were the two witnesses. And I was glad to support them on this, and I rejoiced. I rejoiced at the fact that the two witnesses were finally here. Because with the arrival of the two witnesses starts the countdown to the Lord's return. And so then after this, I woke up from my dream and I was considering the details of everything that I just witnessed while I was asleep and had this dream. And then later on, what I also recalled is that during those same late night hours, well, I would say early night hours, right? Like 2, 3 in the morning time frame, there was also the blood moon over America. And so when I put the dream together, that there's a full moon in a dream. Now, the moon in a dream was not blood red, but the fact that there was a full moon in a dream, and around that time there was a full moon, but it was a total lunar eclipse, makes me feel that the dream and the event are connected. And now catch this. That same breeze that was passing through Jerusalem, that same breeze, when I woke up and went about the rest of my day, never ceased. It's like the same dream that was in, the same breeze that was in the dream continued even after I woke up. I woke up to this breeze, and this breeze never ceased. It never let down, but was continuous and was constant throughout the entire day. And so I thought I'd share this dream with you, brothers and sisters, because, as I said before, I would just give you the plain interpretation, the plain dream, but no interpretation. But if you do have any ideas, feel free to go ahead and comment down below in the video. So thank you all for listening, and God bless.